It's been a couple of months. We've had some time to talk, like to think about it. Really, what are your thoughts? I guess on the World Cup and where what all happened there in the end at the final, and what do you think?
So, I mean, you've had a couple of months to think about it. Samir, I've had a couple of months in rehab to forget about it. Look, all I gotta say is the better team won
Yeah, on the day. Yeah,
on the
on
day
the day.
and in the finals. Like
Yeah,
Australia,
yeah,
I've got to say they have a great record in finals. We all know
yeah.
that. And who did Australia beat? Australia beat South Africa, who were in some of the games dominating so hard. Like they were scoring 300, 400 runs per
Yeah.
game. So Australia beat South Africa.
I
And
thought
then,
South Africa were going to be in the final, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, so
And
they
then,
really did do well, especially after the start they had
yeah.
Australia.
And then Australia beat India, like in India. So really, they
Yeah,
deserve it of the World Cup.
yeah,
Disappointing for India because it was a great chance for them to, to win the World Cup. They were on a roll. They've been playing so well. On the day, they just didn't play as well as they could have. I feel like they got a bit defensive. They got a little bit scared. If you remember, after I think it was Rohit's wicket,
yeah.
they sort of went into a shell. They slowed
Yeah,
down.
Rohit's wicket, and then there was a couple of wickets that fell pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
And
There was a point where, like usually when that happens, one person goes a bit aggressively, the other person anchors the role.
yeah,
But both of the batsmen were anchoring,
yeah.
so that was the problem. And
And look, I'm not. I don't really like saying, the pitch is the reason and stuff like that. But the pitch did play a big part in this, right? It was very dry, very hard to bat on, I guess, in during the day during India's innings, and then I guess the dew came in, and really helped out Travis Head.
yeah,
At one point though, it looked like we were pretty good. 3 wickets down for Australia, and we about 60 runs. We were going pretty good, but he just smoked us all across that whole stadium, and he really played well. A World Cup winning innings,
yeah.
really.
And sometimes, you do need a little bit of luck sometimes. And
Yeah,
there were a couple of decisions that were 50-50 that could have gone either way
yeah,
after 3 wickets had fallen, 3 or 4 wickets for Australia. I think there was a Jadeja
yeah,
LBW. There
yeah,
was also a Bumrah like appeal for LBW. It was
yeah,
very close. But Australia deserved it. Australia deserved the World Cup,
yeah,
and they played really well. And congratulations to Australia. India now, obviously they have to sort of move on from that.
yeah. Regroup, move on, and like we'll talk about, after this subject as well, what they've moved on to.
Yeah.
But just sort of, I guess, focusing a bit more on the pitch again. We heard throughout the tournament that I guess India had a say in what pitches that were actually put out there, and we heard the news about the pitch was getting a lot of news pre-match about you know there was this pitch which was used in the India-Pakistan match, or there was a fresh pitch which was new and no one had played on it. It was specially made for the final. And for some reason, ICC went for this pitch that was used against Pakistan. Now, look, I believe our team is better than, playing on pitches that suit us, right? We have some of the best fast bowlers, and I'd say one of the best fast bowlers in the world in Jasprit Brumah. But I mean, Mohammad Shami, it's all our pace attack is up there with the best, if not the best in the world. For us to be relying on spinning pitches again is a disappointment.
Well, I mean,
I feel like that was probably where we lost it, right? And Australia, to their credit, actually played it smart by winning the toss and choosing to bowl first. That's another thing. I think we underestimated the Australians with that pitch. Who you probably think the Australians would bat first, right? But these Australians now have been playing IPL and they've been playing in India for so long now. They know the conditions. Like, why are we still trying to out trick them with gimmick pitches like this? And I'm just a bit, pissed off about that. Really, I wanted to get that off my chest. So that we didn't need to have that pitch. For some reason, we did.
Well, I mean, we got to have a chat with Jay Shah about that. But
Oh, mate, Jay, man.
and the curator for the pitch, I don't think we've seen him ever since.
No.
He disappeared.
Yeah.
But look, you know what? You know my stance on pitches, like whatever the pitch is, both teams have to play on it.
Yeah.
I mean, in India, yes, okay, there was a little bit of an advantage with the dew and batting in the evening and etc. Like,
Yeah, but I feel like that was a trick that if this match was set in, I guess, like say the 2011 World Cup, like which we did play really well and won. Teams wouldn't have been acclimatized to the conditions, wouldn't know that you actually should bat second at night.
yeah. But look, the thing is,
But it feels like we're trying to out trick teams when we've been playing so well throughout the tournament that we're the ones that actually got tricked in the end.
well, I mean, these are international players, right? They've played cricket they're not new on the scene as well. Some of these players have been around for 10 years or longer.
Yeah.
And some of these players have been playing since they were little kids, right?
Yeah.
And they know the conditions. They're coached through this, right?
Yeah.
Different conditions. And I feel like, because there's always commentary about, when the Indian cricket team comes down to Australia, which, by the way, in 12 months, end of the year, India.
Next year.
It's coming down
next year, man.
The revenge tour. They always talk about how will the Indian batsmen cope on fast, pacey pitches, Australian fast bowlers? But people forget that India also have fast bowlers, and no one sees they excel every time they come down here.
Yeah.
Like I remember Jasprit Bumrah.
You ripped it up.
You probably remember one wicket. In swinging Yorker to Gilchrist.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that Patan? Sorry.
Patan, Irfan Patan. Yes. I was at the ground on that day.
In swinging Yorker. Oh my god.
I remember that. I'll always remember that, actually, that wicket.
But there's so many fast bowlers that come down and play well. Just like Australia, when they go to India, like they always say, there's dry pitches, etc. But you need to acclimatize to the pitches, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Australia did that really well.
Yeah. And it's a smarter Australian team, and they've won. And fair enough to them, and I guess our run in ICC tournaments continues. It's been 10 years now. More than 10 years. We haven't won an ICC tournament for a while.
Yeah,
and it's starting to add up, and I guess a lot of questions were asked about raw hit, and as it always does when it comes to these things. You lose a World Cup, questions get asked about your captaincy. Did you see that video actually where it was the first time he got interviewed after all of this, and it'd been months, and you could tell it actually hurt. It hurt him. For as much fun as we make of Rohit, it was a very human moment, and it actually hurt him. What happened in that?
I feel like it hurt a lot.
It hurt all of them. You can see at the end, everyone's crying, and Siraj was crying, and Virat was crying off camera as well. I was told.
There's one shot, they only released it recently, of Virat Kohli standing above the stumps after the game, in Australia celebrating.
Yeah.
He's just staring down at the stumps.
Yeah.
Until he was hurting.
Yeah, that hurt.
Was his chance, But
it's a home final. You played so well throughout the tournament, and then to just end it there, it would have really stung.
And I guess, like you're talking about our bad runs in ICC tournaments, it's just another case of, Chelo, we lost the World Cup, but at least we beat Pakistan.
Oh, man. We don't want to start any packy stuff here.
That's a sentence that happens after every ICC tournament. We lost, but at least we beat Pakistan.
Not according to Pakistani fans. They're actually saying that we lost the final, and they're celebrating it for some reason.
Which is good. I like that, because usually Pakistan fans disappear. I don't know. It's good. Good to see.
Yeah, good to see. Yeah. So Joey. We got Joey Joseph here as well. So yeah, I mean, it's been a bad run there, but I mean, we'll move on, and as a team, we'll move on as well.
And there's another ICC tournament coming up.
Next year coming up, which will be a good one.